Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. You know, maybe one day when I save up some money, maybe I'll go somewhere else on holiday. I certainly need a break from the shit show that keeps going on here in the United Kingdom. I don't think I'll go for Spain though. I've already been to Torremolinos twice when I was 11 years old. I don't think I want to go to Las Vegas because I know what will happen with the fucking money. I am a big fan of the snowy places. Places where it snows shitloads more than here in Norwich. Maybe I'll have to board a plane to Norway or something. Who said the flight would be cancelled as soon as he steps on? Shut up, you. I'm not that bad. Fucking Christ almighty, man. No, I shouldn't blaspheme. Yes, I know. But hey-ho, that's not why you called. There is a story, however, which is much more serious and involves 6 deceased AFD members. I know I'm not going to pronounce the name because I know damn well I'm going to end up butchering the fucking thing. This is only the first time I've seen this story, but I can say this much free of charge. It'll be 20 quid if you want me to repeat myself. Anyway, apparently there's a story about 6 deceased AFD members as the elections are rolling up, I believe. When I see the media's basically take on it saying there's no foul play, naturally my immediate thought response is, I think that's a load of shit. Because isn't it funny that it just so happens to be a party that is deemed as far right that is getting the flack for this? Though devil's advocate, I do suspect they would report the other side if it were the case, but I suspect they would try to spin the narrative, if you will. But when it comes to the far right, they're very quick to rule out any kind of foul play, and that makes me extremely suspicious. The story it reminds me of, while it's not exactly the same, it does remind me of what happened to Conservative MP David Amess. For anybody that doesn't know, David Amess was a Brexit MP, and he was basically assassinated by a Muslim from Somalia, known as Ali Harbour Ali. And of course, what were the likes of Sadiq Khan saying? Well, it was actually just Sadiq Khan, but you get what I mean. Sadiq Khan effectively came out and said that David Amess passed away, rather than he was brutally murdered and assassinated. And it wouldn't have surprised me in the slightest if Sadiq Khan used that language if Donald Trump had been assassinated in that first attempt, which he barely saved his own skin by a fraction of a second. But we know the left have a history of glorifying violence and advocating for violence against anybody who doesn't conform to the communist globalist viewpoints. And I know what some people are going to say about me as soon as they see this video. They're basically going to think tinfoil hat. And I'm going to say, bitch, please, it's aluminium. I use it for baking. Anyway, they're just going to come out and say tinfoil hat, conspiracy theorist, far right, anti-vaxxer, anti-lockdown, or lockdown protesters, or whatever you want to call them, because that's how the left operate. They'll do everything they can to basically belittle and smear your argument, because they don't have anything else. But I'm going to call it right now. I suspect the oligarchy or the religion of peace may be involved. Think about it. When you think about far right, you immediately think patriotic, wants to put its own people first, wants to close the borders to stop invaders getting in. And Islam has definitely had a habit of invading other countries, despite the fact there's 54 Muslim countries they could all go to. So it stands to reason why I suspect Islam or the oligarchy are responsible for those 6 deaths. Now, for now, that is just speculation in my humble opinion, because obviously I don't have a crystal ball here. I don't claim to be omniscient. I don't claim to know what's going to happen next. But what I do know is that the lefties and the oligarchy have had a tendency to hide the truth from the public, whether it be English, British, German, Italian, French, you name it, they'll do it. So it stands to reason why that is my thought process as far as the 6 deceased AFD members are concerned. Now, nothing would please me more is if it really was just a matter of no foul play. It would still be suspicious. It would still stink, but at least if it genuinely turns out to be the truth, at least I can rest a little bit easier. But we know how little the oligarchy's media is going to report on the truth. Therefore, I would encourage people to take everything with a grain of salt. I wonder if we're going to hear anything from Keir the traitor Starmer on this. I suspect not. I mean, right now he's too busy focusing on the human rights of the invaders who are breaking every law under the sun, who have no legal or human right to be here, rather than his own fucking citizens. But what's even more sickening, if we go back to Epping, apparently now Epping Council have been refused the ability to appeal the decision to keep these invaders in their hotels. It's a shame when we see one of the very few councils that are actually on the English people's side, and all of a sudden, what do we see? We see the government basically stamp out this one council. They flex their muscles and apply the boot to the face of the English people. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me. It doesn't suit the narrative. I probably only have a few minutes here, but basically Keir the traitor Starmer is doing everything he can to defy the English people. He will stop at nothing to see our great nation, all our communities, and all the hard work that Christians and the English people have sacrificed 2,000 bloody years, over millennia basically, across all their lives, all their generations. He will stop at nothing until all that means nothing. Well, there's going to be a point where it all blows up in Starmer's face. He's going to end up with such an angry mob outside his place, outside 10 Downing Street, outside the Houses of Treachery, I mean Parliament, or maybe I was right first time, that he is going to take one look out of the window and all of a sudden he's going to have an immediate involuntary bowel movement. There isn't any way in God's earth that you can tell me that this is going to end well for Starmer. Oh, fuck me, I'm going flying now. Anyway, I just got away from that so I could actually speak a bit. But as I said, you can't expect me to believe that this is going to end well for Keir the traitor Starmer. And remember, there's already protests happening across the country. Hell, there's even one that's happening right now down in Downing Street, or Parliament Square, or wherever the bloody hell it is. But the next stop is, I'm going to put my fist through you, fucking Tannoy Tina. There are people waking up all over the country. There is a mass exodus right now. People have had enough. And Keir the traitor Starmer is effectively shitting himself. He has no idea how to deal with this. He looks whiter than a sheet. Right now, I'm surprised Keir the traitor Starmer doesn't have a chamber pot stuck to his ass. But it wouldn't surprise me if Keir the traitor Starmer's shit is so corrosive, it literally breaks the ceramic in there. I do find it absolutely incredible, though, in the sense of shock more than anything, that Keir still thinks that he is going to continue serving the people. He believes he's still going to be leading, whether it's 3 or 4 years into 2029 or 10 years into 2033. Actually, no, I can't do simple maths. That would be 9 years. Anyway, the fact is, he still thinks, King Shit of Turd Mountain thinks that he's not shit. I mean, King Shit stinks so bad, he'd start making a polecat dance. Just don't tip him any money, because he's not going to take it. Anyway, this man just doesn't understand the harm he has done to this country, and he still thinks that he's good for the job. Time to wake up and smell the coffee, Starmer. You are not the Prime Minister you think you are. You are a monumental fuck-up. You are the biggest mistake that your parents have ever made, quite frankly. I think if some of us had have known that they were going to create a tool of this magnitude, I'm pretty sure they'd be borrowing the DeLorean to go back in time to save the future. And it would literally be as simple as, here mate, put on this condom. And that is one less mistake and problem in the world. And I'm sure the lefties are going to be clutching their pearls and frothing at the mouth at what I've just said. But here's the thing about me, and you can say it with me. I'm not going to sugarcoat a motherfucking thing. I'm not going to mince my words. I'm going to say it exactly how it is, and I'll do my best not to bullshit you. Everything that Starmer has done has been so arse backwards that it begs the question, where does his head start and the arse begin? I mean, quite frankly, both ends, they spew a lot of crap, whichever way you look at it. Like I said before, Tommy Robinson is expecting 1 million people at that protest on the 13th of September. I am hoping to be there. The only way that I am not going to be there is if I have a family emergency. Like, I don't know, my nan or my mum, they're on their deathbed and I might not see them ever again. In that case, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to put that to a side, because obviously I've got to look after my family and I want to be there with my family. The only other excuse that I would provide is I've done myself serious harm, like I've broken a leg or both my legs, or I'm in a life-threatening condition. But provided none of that happens, I hope to be down there on the 13th of September. I'm probably going to need to prepare... Oh, would you shut up, Tannoy Tina? I'm probably going to have to plan a speech if I end up getting pulled up there. Though, to be fair, when I was down at the Brook Hotel in Bowthorpe, I didn't really have a script prepared. I didn't think I was actually going to be talking up there. But hey-ho, there I was, and there I did. And, yeah. I'd like to think I put my heart and soul into it. And now the protest has type 2 diabetes. Anyway, I'd like to think I put my heart and soul into it all. And I would do the same for London as well, if I get the chance. Though I suspect I probably won't get the chance. I think, as much as I don't want to go on about potential negatives, I think Tommy needs, as I said before, I think he needs to bring in people who basically aren't the same. I accept that Katie Hopkins and Carl Benjamin and Gerard Batten, just to name a few, they're all very influential people. They have good speeches, they know exactly what to say and how to say it, but most people don't want to see the same old, same old. They want to see some new faces. They want to see fresh blood. They want to see people who've got the balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case both, to give their heart and soul for this country. Because it isn't just about the group of people in this Unite the Kingdom movement. It isn't just about Ben Habib, because a lot of them have signed on to the Advance UK party, or a lot of people are still with the Reform Party. But what they fail to realise is the Union Jack is not our country's flag by law. That's the cold, bitter truth. The one flag that identifies this country is St George's Cross, and is much more symbolic of Jesus Christ and Christianity, who I constantly blaspheme, than the Union Jack ever will have. St George's Cross represents England. The Union Jack represents the oligarchy. It represents the status quo. They have been allowed to hijack the Union Jack and effectively use that to say, we are all proud to be British. This is England, not Britain. This is the United Kingdom at best. You can't sit here and say, oh, we're British. There's no such thing as British. It's either you're Scottish, you're Welsh, you're Irish, or you're English. Simple as that. You were either born and bred in those countries, or you weren't. There is no middle ground. It's black or white. I was born in Scotland, so technically I should be Scottish, but obviously my mum and dad, as I said before, they basically came down to England, moved, I think it was over to Bacton at first, then over to Helston. over in the lovely area of Norwich, where it almost never snows, it almost always rains. I can't say the bus service is shit, because it's actually, to its credit, been reasonably good. But I would definitely identify myself as English-Scottish, the way I look at it. Yeah, I may not have the Scottish accent, and I canny do it, but hey-ho, it is what it is. And I think people need to wake up as far as the flag issue is concerned. As I've said before, we are only represented by one flag. If you're Scottish, you have the Scottish flag. If you're Welsh, you have the Welsh flag. If you're Irish, you have the flag of Ireland. And if you're English, then you have St George's Cross, not the Union Jack. And I'm not saying that to divide people. I'm not saying that because I hate certain groups of people. I'm saying that because that is as it is written. I don't make the rules here. I don't make the laws here. Because, trust me, it would all go tits up if I did, let me tell you. But unfortunately, the Union Jack is not a part of this country. People use it, but it's not our actual identity, whereas St George's Cross is. And that is the flag that our servicemen, good English men, gave their lives, and women, if there were any, gave their lives in 2 world wars to make sure we weren't speaking German. They did that to make sure that we could still serve St George's Cross. So the only flags that we should be flying high, as it were, is St George's Cross. Don't buy any Union Jacks. Buy St George's Crosses. Buy England shirts. Hell, even football shirts if you need to. Because that's what represents us, not the Union Jack. Never forget that. I wish I could fit into my England shirt, but that was something I wore back in my fucking teens, and I'm surprised I could even remotely wear it. It just looks extremely skin tight, and I'd probably be arrested for indecent exposure. Anyway, that is the way to look at the flag situation. We are not just uniting the kingdom. We are making sure we are sending the right message. It is a matter of we need to be waving St George's Cross. That doesn't mean that you can't fly other flags who stand with us, such as the American flag, such as the Australian flag, the Irish flag, the Scottish flag, because they're, well, Scotland and Ireland, of course, they're all part of the United Kingdom. Wales is part of the United Kingdom. Therefore, it stands to reason why you would see Welsh and Scottish flags there. I have no problem with them, just the Union Jack. And I stand by the people in Epping. I stand by their fundamental, what should be constitutional right to protest against the oligarchy, to protest against policies that threaten to downtrod the Epping people. The people of Essex has spoken, and they've Epping had enough. Thank you. But do you think Keir the traitor Starmer is going to back down? Ask yourselves that honestly. Do you honestly think that Keir the traitor Starmer is going to back down in what he wants to do? Of course he isn't. He is hell-bent for leather to destroy this country. He is hell-bent for leather to bring in the third world and turning our country into Great Britannistan. But that's something, of course, the mainstream media are not going to want to tell you. Well, mark my words, the people are waking up. And if he doesn't want to end this peacefully, then civil war will inevitably break out. Oh, and another point. Starmer's plans ID cards to help stop UK boat migrants. Translation. They can throw away their passports and then give these cards to the people and say, hey, look, they're British. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at this point if they decided that was the plan they were going for with these ID cards. I really hope it's not the case, but unfortunately, we'll never know. At least not until it actually happens anyway. So, I guess we should keep our guard up, because this could effectively mean the end of the UK as it stands. Think about it. They want to bring these digital IDs so that they can track us Big Brother style. They'll have the digital IDs so that Basically, they'll be able to give these, without our knowledge, to these invaders who are coming over from their third world shitholes, who a lot of them decide they're going to throw their passports into the sea or rip them up, and then Keir the traitor Starmer could then bring these people in and say, here you see, they've got digital ID, that means they're British. No, that does not make them British. And it's English, you motherfucker. There is no such country as Britain. It is the United Kingdom. It is England. It is Scotland. It is Wales. That is how it's been and always will be for the last 2,000 years and the next 2,000 onwards. I mean, they've already been gaslighting the public, especially when you think about what happened in Southport with Axel Radaku Banana going out of his way to butcher 3 innocent girls, God rest their souls. They tried to call him a Welsh choir boy from Cardiff. And what he was an invader who was a byproduct of Rwandans who came to this country and effectively was a practicing Islamist. But they kept on going on with the narrative. And yes, I'll play devil's advocate here. There were some people who put out misinformation about him coming from Pakistan, I believe. Or was it the guy who actually put out the misinformation was from Pakistan? I don't claim to know all the plans of the oligarchy, and I never will. But I do have this tendency where I go with my gut. Yes, I know it's massive. Shut it. But I do tend to go with my gut a lot. And when it tells me something, I usually go with it. And chances are it usually ends up being right. Whether it's when I'm playing my video games or when it comes down to the real world. At the end of the day, Keir the traitor Starmer has already showcased to us what kind of person he is. Certainly not one of integrity. He's certainly not a man that I would trust with my life if we were in a battlefield scenario, quite frankly. I would sooner trust him to give all our ammunition and food to the enemy. And hell, I would rather give all the food and rations to my enemy than give even a single gram of it to Keir the traitor Starmer. The man is a traitor through and through. He is only interested in consolidating power with himself and his treacherous Labour Party. Or again, maybe I was right first time. He is only interested in his own people. Oh, and that's another thing. Angela Rayner, because I did say this, didn't I, that he was only interested in his own people. He's even protecting Angela Rayner, even though it turns out she was caught in tax fraud during mortgage, wouldn't you know it, an £800,000 tax fraud. What was it they did Tommy Robinson on again? Someone remind me. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Oh, was it mortgage fraud? Oh, it's all gone full circle, hasn't it? It's all gone full fucking circle. They wanted to call Tommy Robinson a thug, a far-right racist. They wanted to call him a fraudster, a grifter, as well as the left-wing NPCs who all have the collective intelligence of a drained watermelon. And now look what happens. Angela Rayner caught in mortgage fraud, in tax fraud. Do you think they're going to condemn her the same way they condemned Tommy? Do you? I don't. I have as much faith in them as I do in Islam, which is precisely none. But it also makes the treacherous Labour Party a bunch of hypocrites. They would all go out of their way to say, oh, look at Tommy Robinson. Why should you trust that fraudster and conman? Why should you trust this grifter, this far-right racist thug, former leader of the EDL? Although my sister still thought he was the leader of the fucking BNP party. That would be rich, wouldn't it? But this is the thing. They can't dare say the tax fraud and mortgage fraud about Tommy Robinson ever again. Because now this Labour politician, if you can even call her that, has just basically completely muddied the waters. She has effectively placed a whole load of mines all across the battlefield, and if they take one wrong step and they start using that as an excuse, we can absolutely fucking destroy them. Just like that. Oh, I'm sure Tommy Robinson must have a big shit-eating grin on his face right now, thinking, yeah, you fuckers all called me a fraudster and a con man, even though no one lost a single penny. The company didn't even lose a penny when this so-called fraud took place. And the only reason Tommy Robinson pled guilty was because they were holding his ex-wife. They were holding his family. They were effectively trying to charge them. So they offered Tommy Robinson a deal. Plead guilty to these charges and we will drop the family. They eventually had to go and make another deal because, bear in mind, during this court case with Tommy Robinson, basically they were trying to get him to plead guilty to a whole bunch of charges that he may or may not have done. But here's the kicker. When they made this agreement, they told him, if you do plead guilty to these charges, we will drop the charges against this family. We will drop the charges against your wife. And they add that little bit of small, what is it? What's that fucking text they call it? Basically the small print. That's what it is. At this time. And then I'll mention the rest of it later. But basically, plead guilty to these charges. You'll get 18 months in prison. We'll drop the rest of the family at this time. Bearing in mind everything that the government were doing against Tommy Robinson, it was fabricated. It was all a load of lies. Hell, they even swore a Muslim PCSO among the jury. Don't think that basically biased juries don't exist. Don't even think that for a second. Just like how the BBC, when it comes down to those fucking live election debates, don't think that it's an impartial, unbiased audience. They just throw a few in because they obviously have to please Ofcom. Most of the time, with these guys, it's usually a left-wing audience who are there to rip the piss out of the right-wingers. But again, the media won't tell you that. But they were basically putting in a biased jury against Tommy Robinson for charges he hadn't committed, but he was forced to plead guilty to, as otherwise he had the threat of Jenna Lennon being put through the grinder, as it were. And as I said, the company didn't lose a penny. The friend who he loaded a deposit at the start at didn't lose any money. Tommy Robinson was the only one who lost any money on that, if anything, and that was because he lent the money voluntarily. Whereas Angela Rayner was willfully not paying. Need I say more? And the thing is, as I said, you remember that small print I mentioned earlier? The at this time? Well then, the oligarchy and the judges decide to say, either you pay us £300,000 or whatever it was, or you do 4 years in jail. Yeah. This is how corrupt our system is, folks. They're willing to piss your money up the wall. Meanwhile, they will siphon that money from your wallet like they've got a fucking Dyson next to it. The moment they get a chance, they'll be on your wallet. Just like that. The process is the punishment. The oligarchy is committing lawfare against all of us. Well, they're going to find out that there is going to be a real war coming. And I don't think laws are going to stop the people from doing what people do in a civil war, quite frankly. And let me be clear, as I've always done, I do not advocate for a revolution, a violent one that is. I do not advocate for civil war. I do not advocate for attacking politicians, even though there are some of us would probably question whether or not they deserve it. But I don't advocate for that shit. But civil war is coming. Mark my words, it will be very, very soon. It'll all kick off like it was halftime at football, only in a much more violent manner. And when it happens, I've said it many, many times, Keir the traitor Starmer and his stormtroopers and the whole of the oligarchy will only have themselves to blame. Because they're the ones who went off to Shell, bought a tanker and started pouring the fucking thing over an open bonfire. They are the ones who have instigated the riots. They are the ones who incited violence. They are the ones who are effectively gaslighting the public into doing what they think they want, but will end up blowing up in their faces in an instant. The bottom line is this. The people of Epping, the people of Essex, in fact, the people of England deserve better. What kind of wrongdoings did we do in our previous lives to warrant having such a disgusting Prime Minister as our leader? Like, what did we do? Did we all throw kittens into a volcano or something? Did we go and beat the living shit out of every dog we saw? Did we all go on mass killing sprees to deserve having Keir the traitor Starmer in power? Sure fucking feels like it. Even though we know full well we haven't done jack shit. Although jack shit's probably going to argue that. Anyway, we haven't done jack shit as far as anything nasty is concerned. All we've done is furiously wave our flags. That's it. We've waved our flags, showed our contempt for the oligarchy, and basically demanded change. Something the oligarchy doesn't want to conform to. When the Prime Minister got into power, his duty is to serve this. His duty is to this flag, to England. Not Britain, not Pakistan, not France, not Afghanistan. England. This is the flag that he is supposed to represent. And while he does have a couple of flags in his little office, Keir the traitor Starmer disgusts me with that mere image alone. He does not represent this. He just has them there to imply the false pretense that he represents this. That man is as English as a French baguette. This man is as representative as a dead cat, and has all the charm of a road-killed skunk. Keir the traitor Starmer doesn't represent the flag. He represents himself. He represents a caliphate that will be imposed on this country if Islam is allowed to continue rearing its ugly head. We have seen time and time again the Islamists of Sunni Islam are not willing to integrate with our society. They come over to our countries, and not the 54 Muslim countries, to subjugate us. They come over to conquer us because Islam is a religion of war. It is a warrior religion in the sense that they will go to other countries that they think they can take over, whether it's through brute force or subterfuge, and they will take over that country, inside or out, and turn it into part of the Islamic State. And Keir the traitor Starmer is Islam's useful idiot. He is the man they will count on to preach of how good this Islamic Quran truly is, when it preaches murder, it preaches sexism, it preaches homophobia. Yes, there's a term I never thought I'd be fucking using. And, of course, it also preaches two-tier citizenry. That's not something we want for this country. And last time I checked, this country is called England or the United Kingdom. Not Great Britannistan, not Pakistan, not Afghanistan, not Uzbekistan, not India, not any other country that basically has Islam as its predominant religion, basically. I am not a Christian. Let's get that fucking right. I'm sure the Lord's going to strike me down at some point. Well, it's that, or I'm going to be accosted by Christians when I come down to London, and they're going to start bashing me with their Bibles and say, "Thou shalt not blaspheme," or some shit like that. One or the other. But at the end of the day, this is our country, not his, not theirs. The invaders, that is. And we, the English people, we've had enough. And if the police won't do their job, we're going to come in and do it for them. And we're going to take out the trash and place it in the dustbin of history where it rightfully belongs. Though I think Starmer might need a dumpster, because he is a big piece of trash, that's for fucking sure. It doesn't matter whether you're male or female, old or young, tall or short, thin or fat. We have English blood among us. We have English blood running through our veins, thicker than water. We won't stop fighting for this country because we want what's right for it. We want what's best for this country. When Elizabeth was still alive, we would be happy to say God save the Queen. Now, you'll be lucky if you see us sing God Save Our King, because that king does not represent us. That king, King Charles, is compromised. He's complicit. He's an Islamist. And I'm not afraid to say that. If he's willing to pander to Islam, then he has compromised his role as keeper of the faith. Well, I may not keep the faith, but I'll tell you this much. If I had to choose between Christianity and Islam, if I had to choose the Bible or the Quran, I hope the cross will save us all from this warrior religion.